Not one, not two, but this weekend, 3 defenses in the top 5 total defenses. He would be the first quarterback to win 3 playoff games against those folks. Not a bad way to say, who have we really played? How about those folks? And I'm in the Super Bowl. May ranks in the top 5, however, in sacks taken and quarterback pressure percentage faced. And guess who's top 2 in both of those metrics this season? The Broncos defense. This is where it's all going to come down to it. Can they protect this young man? Can he protect the football as well? Can they run it on this Broncos defense to try and take the pressure off of Drake May? The Broncos defense just allowed a season-high 183 rush yards against Buffalo in that division round win. They allowed the 3rd most points and 2nd most total yards in a game all season coming into this game against the New England Patriots, who allowed the 5th highest pressure rate in the NFL in 2025. The Broncos defense has the 2nd highest opposing quarterback pressure rate in the NFL. They have the best sack rate in the NFL, the Denver defense does. The New England pass protection, 25th best sack rate. That's where it's all going to come down to for 2 head coaches who have been there and done that. Sean Payton, in terms of being there before, you bet he went to the NFC Championship game 3 times with the Saints. It's his 4th career conference championship game appearance. Mike Vrabel, however, has been there and done that now as a coach and a player. He would be the first person to start in a conference championship game win as a player and win a conference championship as a coach for the same franchise. Nobody's ever done it. He can do that this weekend as he's the 3rd person all time to lead the same franchise to a conference championship game as both a player and a head coach. The others are named Gary Kubiak for the Broncos and Art Shell for the Raiders. That's what's going down in the AFC Championship game to start the weekend. Ooh. And then I need a music change, please, sir. Thank you. The National Football Conference Championship game. It's the Rams and the Seahawks. And to say that they know each other and play each other in tight games is an understatement. It's the 58th all-time meeting between the two. Currently, in the previous 57, the Seahawks have won 29. The Rams have won 28. The Seahawks have scored 1,223 total points. The Rams have scored 1,222 total points. This year, the total points were Rams 58, Seahawks 57. Rams 830 total yards in the 2 games previous. The Seahawks 829. You can't make this up, how tight of the games they play against one another. This is just the 2nd playoff game in NFL history, however, between a team that won their previous playoff game by 30 or more points, like the Seahawks did, and a team whose last playoff game was an overtime win, like the Rams just did. The only other time was when the Patriots beat the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49, coming off of a Patriots 38-point AFC Championship win and the Seahawks NFC Championship win in overtime against Green Bay. The Seahawks and the Rams had the 2 best point margins in the NFL. The Rams won their game by an aggregate 191 points. The Rams 172 points. The leader in point differential has not won the Super Bowl, though, since 2017. The Eagles and the Patriots were both tied at 162, so whoever won that game would be the stat that I'm reading off to you. This is the first playoff matchup between the NFL's top 2 teams in point differential since the Super Bowl 52. The last such matchup featuring teams from the same conference was the 2015 NFC Championship game between Carolina and Arizona. We all know Matthew Stafford could be the MVP of the league. Maybe we'll have already seen the MVP of the league play prior to this game with Drake May in Denver. The last time, though, the number 1 scoring offense and the number 1 scoring defense met in a conference championship game was the 2014 NFC Championship, when Seattle's number 1 defense defeated Green Bay's number 1 offense in overtime. Stafford will become just the 3rd quarterback since 1950 to have his season high and season low in pass yards against the same team and then meet that team in the playoffs. Because don't forget, the first matchup, Stafford didn't do very much against the Seahawks in Los Angeles despite coming up with a win. Both of the previous quarterbacks in Ben Roethlisberger against Cincinnati in 2005 and George Blanda against the Chargers in 1960, each won league championships that season. This will be the first playoff matchup between the NFL leader in pass yards, Stafford, and the number one scoring defense, Seahawks, since Peyton Manning took on Seattle in the Super Bowl in 2013. And we all know Denver fans would like to not be reminded of that. And Seahawk fans will say, I'd love to see a 2.0 this Sunday, please. It's the first playoff matchup between the NFL leader in passing touchdowns, Stafford, and the number one scoring defense, Seahawks, since Aaron Rodgers against the Rams in the 2020 divisional round. The Rams are the first team to finish the season with the NFL's number one scoring and total offense since the Chiefs in 2022, who went on to win the Super Bowl. We all know Sam Darnold starting for the Seahawks, and he against the Rams, no bueno, with the exception of obviously the Thursday night game in the fourth quarter and overtime a few weeks ago when he went off against a Chris Shula defense that otherwise has beaten him every single time. Since Shula became the DC in 2024, Darnold is 1-3 against the Rams, including the playoffs. He led the NFL in giveaways in 2025, been much better in the playoffs, as we all know, just last week. Didn't have to throw very much. It helps when you return the opening kickoff for a touchdown and have a defense playing like the wagon that it is. He's just the third quarterback since 91 to lead the NFL in giveaways and reach the conference championship games. The previous two quarterbacks in Jim Kelly in 92 and Eli Manning in 2007 each made the Super Bowl. We also know some top-notch A++ pass catchers and receivers are in this football game. This is the first playoff matchup in NFL history between players that had 1,700 or more receiving yards in that regular season. This is just the fourth playoff matchup in NFL history between players that ranked first and second in receiving yards that regular season, and the first such matchup between wide receivers since 1993's NFC Championship game. Yes, JSN and Puka Nacua are the Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin of this NFC Championship game in that regard. Jackson Smith-Njigba became the first player to lead the NFL in receiving yards while playing for the number one seed in his conference since Jerry Rice in 94. By the way, Jerry did it two other times in his career. So there's that. And then on top of it, you got Davante Adams, who I believe everybody in a certain generation thinks, oh, yeah, he won the Super Bowl with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers in 2011. Nope. In the same way everyone assumes Ed Reed won the Super Bowl with the Ravens in 2000. No, he wasn't there yet. Davante Adams has never played in a Super Bowl. And he, in the meantime, has led wide receivers with 8 receiving touchdowns in the playoffs since coming into the league. The only ones with more among all players is Gronk with 12 and Travis Kelce with 20. It's time for this guy perhaps to make the Super Bowl, unless the guy he replaced wants to step up and do it against the Rams. Yes, Cooper Kupp is in this football game, becomes just the 5th Super Bowl MVP to face the team they won the Super Bowl MVP with in the playoffs. 2 have won, 2 have lost. The winners, Von Miller for the Bills in last year's wild card round against the Broncos, and Richard Dent played for the Niners in beating the Bears in the 94 divisional round. And then the 2 losers, if you will, or I should say who lost, Peyton Manning losing in the divisional round with Denver against the Colts in 2014. Santonio Holmes losing the AFC Championship game with the Jets at the Steelers. Cooper Kupp will become just the 5th player in any of the North American sports, NBA Finals, World Series, or Super Bowl MVP all time, to face the team that they won the MVP with in the Final Four of the playoffs. The first such occurrence since LeBron faced the Miami Heat in the 2020 NBA Finals with the Lakers. And he won it, as we all know. Mike McDonald versus Sean McVay. It is play caller on defense, play caller on offense, play designer on defense, play designer on offense. No doubt Mike McDonald was hired to basically say, can you control this guy and Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs should you face them? And it's possible he could face them both and face them down and take them to the Super Bowl. in the process. And that's my NFC Championship game preview here on the Rich Eisen Show. We take a break because the newest head coach of the Miami Dolphins is sitting down, a Jersey man. Too bad Del Tufo's missing out here. We would have him ask Jeff Hafley what exit he's from. Right here, coming up.